We all know that our network really is our net worth, and they've done some fantastic studies with Harvard, Stanford, and MIT that have actually validated this. And in parts 1 and 2, I walked you through how to set up a super professional LinkedIn profile. And now what we're going to do is really talk about how to use that profile once you've got it all set up. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome. I'm Sarah Edens. I'm a financial consultant and educator, and I'm so happy you chose to join me today. And a big welcome to all my current subscribers. It's so nice to see you back. So let's talk about what you do with your super amazing professional LinkedIn profile now that you've got it all set up and you're up and running. You're starting to send connect requests and people are starting to connect with you, and you're starting to watch the number of connects and follows grow. So what do we do now? So number 1 is to post consistently. So just like any other social media platform, LinkedIn runs on an algorithm. And so it basically will reward people who are posting frequently and posting content that gets a lot of engagement from the other users. So that can look like a lot of likes, a lot of comments, a lot of reshares. There's a way to reshare those posts on LinkedIn as well. I'm sure you've seen this if you use LinkedIn already. But basically, it rewards people who are creating content like that people are engaging with a lot, because the goal of LinkedIn is to keep people's eyes on LinkedIn for as long as possible, as often as possible. So if you're creating that kind of content that's getting lots of likes and lots of comments, it'll continue to show it to more and more people. And so that's something to just really keep in mind, is the more consistently you post and the more you can get people to engage with your content, comment on your content, and reshare your content, the better. Now, this is easier said than done, right? Like, I know this from personal experience doing this on LinkedIn, and somehow I've gotten as many LinkedIn followers as I have, and I don't even know how that's happened because for many years, I've been on LinkedIn for probably 10 years, and I've only been using it really consistently in the last 3. And somehow I've got all these followers on LinkedIn. So I'm super grateful if you're with me on LinkedIn as well. Shout out to you as well. Thank you for that. But people have options of following you and being able to see the posts that you share, or they can connect to you if you connect back with them and accept that request. And so there's different ways to connect with people and follow people on LinkedIn, which I really like, because that way, if people aren't in your industry and you don't have mutual connections, you can still engage with each other's content. So it's a really nice just option there. I feel like the way LinkedIn's algorithm is set up is quite user-friendly that way. The second thing I would say that's helped me build my LinkedIn I keep trying to say portfolio because it used to just kind of feel like an online portfolio. My LinkedIn profile has been that visuals are better than text alone. I would say that any and every single one of my posts that includes a video or includes some kind of a graphic, a visual, a photo to go along with the text typically performs better than the ones that are just kind of like long form blogging, or I guess short form blogging, because there's a character limit. So just play around though with what's going to work well for you. I feel like a lot of LinkedIn is still very heavily text based, so a lot of kind of short form blogging as opposed to video, but they're definitely pushing video as well. It's something that I've seen probably in the last year that LinkedIn has started just making it easier to upload videos, and people have been uploading a lot more videos themselves as well. So just kind of play around and see which type of content performs the best for you, and plays ball with the industry that you're in as well. The third thing that I would recommend to really just start building out your connections and your followers is follow as many people in your industry as possible. And obviously, you can follow people outside your industry as well, because that study showed that it's not just people in your niche who are going to be potentially hiring you if you suddenly need a job. It's having that broad network of people kind of across many different industries. But when you're just getting started and you want to build your connections, I would recommend follow as many people in your industry as possible, and then send connect requests frequently. So one thing about connect requests is when you're starting out and you have 25 followers on LinkedIn, there's a high probability that other people will not accept your connect request, even if you send like the nicest message in the world, because there's a way to include a note with your connect request. And even if you send the nicest, most professional message in the world, if people see that you're a brand new user of LinkedIn, you don't have any mutual connections, which means people you're both connected with on LinkedIn, they just may not accept your connect request, or they might think you're a spam account. I had that happen to me a couple of times when I was first getting started. It's because there are a lot of trolls and spam accounts and a lot of people doing just straight up marketing. And so until you've built that credibility of having lots of connections and lots of followers, and you have lots of mutual connections with other people, you don't get looked at the same way. And that's a gripe I have about LinkedIn, and I think they could do better, is maybe being able to reflect how long you'd been on the platform as well, so that people could see like, oh, well, you've only been on the platform for a year, so of course you have 10 followers. This is not a marketing account. So that's just a little me on my soapbox about some of the issues LinkedIn has for new users. But once you get, rolling and get connected with people, it's much easier to build your network, believe me. All the hard work is in the beginning. So those mutual connections, like I was saying, they're really kind of the LinkedIn magic, because if somebody looks at your connect request and you have 40 mutual connections because you're connecting with someone else, say in finance, like I'm in, and 40 mutual people, then they're like, oh yeah, accept request, and they don't even think about it. So I've seen other people, excuse me, I'm gonna get a drink. I've seen other people on LinkedIn talking about this, how when they're looking at accepting connect requests, they look for things like a personal note, which you can or can't send depending on, if you want to, it's fine. I don't usually send notes with my connect requests, but you can if you want to. They look at how many mutual connections they have. I think I saw one woman with a really big LinkedIn connection, big profile, saying she usually looks for a minimum of 25 mutual connections, because she just sees that way the person's very much, well connected in the industry. And so just some different things to think about there. But until you build into those mutual connections, it can be very challenging in the beginning to build your network. So just keep that in mind, but don't give up. The fourth thing to do as you're building your LinkedIn profile is to comment, like, and reshare others' posts. So again, this is nice because other people love it when you're engaging with their posts, because it helps them reach more people with their message. And then also, I find that it's a really nice way to get people to accept your connect request, because if they see you liking and commenting and resharing their posts, they are much more likely then to accept your connect request when you do eventually connect with them. And so it's a nice way to kind of engage with people who you'd like to be connected with, but you're not sure they're going to accept your request because you don't have any mutual connections and so forth, just to be able to kind of get on their radar, because it's really incredible. I think one of the beautiful things about LinkedIn is you can get in the room with some really incredible people, some insanely well-connected people, insanely well-trained people, experts in the industry, experts in their field, and suddenly you're like in their DMs or in their comment section and they're writing back to you, and it's just magic, because I personally wouldn't have that access to those people just in my town or really anywhere else online. Maybe if I went to a big conference in my industry, maybe you'd start to access some of those people, but it's just instant access if you follow and start liking, commenting, and resharing. And then eventually, if you can connect, it's a great experience that way. And then number 5 is, please do not complain about your clients, even if they're de-identified. And please do not public shame others, even de-identified on LinkedIn, because no one's stupid. And people know when you're talking about them. People know your clients, God forbid your clients are on LinkedIn with you or see a reshare of one of your posts where you were complaining about a situation with a client who is very clearly them. It could cost you your brand reputation, frankly, because you can only imagine what that would do to your professional reputation if you're there complaining publicly about your clients. And I see a lot of people do this on LinkedIn. There's a couple of kind of no-nos that I would say, please avoid. Don't complain about your clients or other people in general. Don't public shame people on LinkedIn at all. Please do not vent on LinkedIn if you're having a bad day. Just like put your phone down if you're having a bad day. Just like walk away now, because your phone is not a good place to be on when you're having a dysregulated, like emotionally stressful day. Just like walk away from all your social media sites and, journal or meditate or talk to your therapist, talk to a friend. don't put all that out there on a place, particularly like LinkedIn, where it's going to have direct ramifications for your personal brand and your personal reputation and your business and your bottom line and your money. So be very, very careful about venting online. I would say too, be careful how much kind of just, this is something that I see some people do better than others, but just casual selfies. It's kind of something, it's a trend that I've seen moved more towards on LinkedIn the last 2 years, where people are sending a lot more just like, hi, LinkedIn, just like little screenshots or snapshots of them on vacation in their, bathing suit with their, partner, or, they're just off, just like chilling out. And I'm not saying that's like, don't do it, but just think about it, how it's going to reflect on your brand. Because particularly if you're in an industry like finance, where it's very professional, it's very trust-based, and it's very much, you want to present the absolute most professional version of yourself. And then you're posting like bikini selfies on your LinkedIn. Like, I would really be hesitant about that in my industry. Like, I would be really hesitant about posting like personal selfies, I think people sometimes get a little confused between what LinkedIn is appropriate for versus, say, their Instagram profile or their TikTok. And so just remember that every social media platform has its purpose and has its uses. But on LinkedIn, everything you post reflects on your business as an entrepreneur, or reflects on your performance at work if you're working for another company. So if you're on LinkedIn and you're, also on LinkedIn with your boss, and then you're posting like, drunk selfies from vacation, it's going to be a problem, because suddenly they're starting to question, is this employee, someone that I can trust? Are they responsible? Like, should we even think about promoting them? Because, why are they even acting like this on vacation in the first place? But then why would they publicly post that out there for everybody to see? It doesn't reflect well on our company. And so please just be very mindful when you're posting on LinkedIn about what's appropriate. Also, I would say big no-nos: do not post about politics, do not post about your religious beliefs. Like, stay away from those two things. Now, there might be, maybe if you're a pastor and you're on LinkedIn and you're working in a field of, those kind of like a religious field, maybe it's fine. If you're a politician, that would make sense for you to be posting about politics, right? So it kind of depends on your industry, but in general, please refrain from sharing your political and your religious beliefs on LinkedIn, because that will only alienate a certain portion of your audience who doesn't agree with you, which you always have people who have different opinions about that. And again, can really reflect badly on your brand. So save all of that kind of personal things for other platforms where you can still have an impact and still say your piece and say what you need to say without it perhaps blowing back on your business. So very important to think about that way. Again, these are all very much up to you. And if you have a brand where sharing super personal things on LinkedIn is working for you, that's fine. I'm not saying it's a never, 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 but I would just say strongly caution against doing some of those things as well. Just at all times, just keep in the back of your mind, just think about like, how is this going to reflect on my brand? How is this going to reflect on me personally? How is this going to reflect on my business? How is this going to reflect on the company I work for? What will my boss see if they see this post? What are they going to think? What are my coworkers going to think if they see this post? Is this going to reflect well on me or reflect poorly on me? You really want to put yourself in the best light while also being genuine. I do see people who manage to share selfies on LinkedIn, be very genuine, and work it into their brand in a way that's very lovely and very tasteful. So it's possible, but I'd say the majority of people who share that kind of personal stuff online, it just kind of falls flat and doesn't do a thing for their reputation. So very important to keep in mind. So if you missed parts 1 and 2 of this series, I will link to them down below. And I'm so happy that you chose to join me, and I will see you again soon in my next video.